And you're a Drax fan, I understand.
I love me some Drax. I think he's awesome. It's cool to have German people around.
Hello there and welcome to the Drax Files Radio Hour. My name is Drax de Dupre. What you heard before the theme today was something that was unearthed from the very old archives. I think 10 years ago, I sent an intern out on the street and asked people if they know me. I worked at a local radio station at the time. Anyway, I'm not here with Joe Yardley because we are on our summer break. I say it every week. We are now between season 2 and 3. And season 3 is starting sometime in August. But today we do have a fresh show, not a rerun, because the occasion, of course, being the 12th birthday of Second Life. Happy birthday, Second Life. On June 23rd, 2003, Second Life opened its doors as a commercial service after a year plus of a few already kind of growing quite rapidly, I should say quite rapidly growing population and community of alphas and betas and a lot of strife and even war. There's a lot of stuff to go into the history of Second Life. It's just completely crazy. I recommend the Alphaville Herald at this point, documenting those early days in its hilarious Onion-esque way, I should say. 12 years of unmitigated creation by a group of diverse global citizens, a huge group, a population, while the road, if you look back from then to now, is really littered with the carcasses of many a virtual world. Google's Lively, remember? Vividi. There was even some world, and I forget the name of the world, but their slogan was, "Get a room." I mean, come on. Anyway, today on the show, we broadcast yesterday's Meet the Linden talk from SL12B, where Safia Wittershins of Primperfect and Designing Worlds and myself interviewed one Danger Linden, Senior Director of Product at Linden Lab, and Troy Linden, Senior Producer for Second Life. This is part of a series of talks during SL12B, which featured D, Patch, Pete, Ziola Linden so far, culminating as this podcast goes live in an interview with one fearless leader, Ebbe Linden, conducted by none other than the regular co-host of this very program, Joe Yardley. Maybe that's why she isn't here today, prepping for this interview. Most certainly we'll have the full video of the talk embedded here on our blog as soon as that goes live. So let's get to the tape from yesterday. I love saying tape, by the way, as if we're still living in sort of a real-to-real world, real life, so to speak. REEL. Wow, that's clever. All right, let's do brief housekeeping notes, okay? You know you can get in touch with us. Ping the show's avatar Drax Files. Send us news, press releases, whatever. Radio at draxfiles.com. Skype, also Drax Files. Then, as you know, you can become a sponsor with us. You can have your own banner displayed on the website and mentioned every single show. We're going to start something a little bit different with Season 3. I'll announce that in a few weeks. But anyway, this week, a new sponsor we have on board, Bright Canopy. Bright Canopy lets you run Second Life in a browser. And let me tell you, it works. It's not quite SL Go. You know, it doesn't run on mobile devices. But I'm told the Bright Canopy folks are working on getting an interface going on mobile. Anyhow, right now, in your browser, surprisingly good performance with a dedicated machine in the cloud. You have to check it out. Click on the banner, start a free trial. The pricing is really, really reasonable. Let us know what you think. You can support us on an individual basis. You can take out a voluntary subscription of $100 million per month.
Hi, Safia. I just crashed in world. As I'm coming back, I would
send us a message. We will send it over to you. Device made by Chris Lehman from Botanicals. All right,
isn't that
here is
that's
yesterday's
absolutely fine.
interview
Danger Linden
with Danger
is
and
Senior
Troy
Director
Linden from
of Product
SL12B,
at the
moderated
lab.
by Safia Wittershins
And he has
and myself.
product responsibility for the massively multiplayer online platform of Second Life, and also for Linden Labs' next generation virtual world platform. That, of course, we can now call Project Sansar, can't we?
Yes, we can. But an update to that, I am now 100% Second Life.
Oh, right.
Sansar is being handled by my boss, actually.
Right. And your boss is?
My boss is Bjorn Linden.
All right. Okay, so you're completely with us. And Troy Linden is a senior producer. Or has your title changed?
No, actually, I'm still a senior producer, enjoying what I do.
Good. And what is that, actually? What do you do?
Senior producer is it's a product owner, and we're responsible for, the well-being of Second Life. So it could be anything from new features to general maintenance to just anything to make it better.
I'd like to ask you both how you came to work for the lab, because I think you both had interesting career paths beforehand.
Sure, I can start. I've been in the video game business since 1988, so it's been a long time. Most recently, before Linden, I was at Electronic Arts working on the Sims team and at Pogo.com, and my former boss at EA had come to Linden to work on Second Life, and so he reached out to me, and I joined him here in 2012.
Fantastic. And what about you, Troy?
So I too came from the video game space. So I've been doing games since 1994. Not quite as long as Danger, but yeah, I've worked with console companies. The big names: Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. And I was working on some Sims products as well as Danger at EA. Mm-hmm. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised when I was approached by a former Linden who was saying, "Hey, Troy, you need, come on over and check out what we're doing." And I've known about Second Life since 2004. I've kind of secretively hopped on my cousin's machine and logged in as himself and explored around. And I was really, really surprised that it was still alive and doing very well. So just went over there for a chat, and next thing I know, I'm doing my interview, and I actually ran into Danger there, so it was completely unplanned.
So did you come in at sort of around the same time?
I think, Danger, you were there maybe a couple months before me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was March 2012, and Troy, I thought you were somewhere in June.
June-ish, yeah. Yep.
So that was kind of the beginning of the recent expansion, wasn't it?
Yeah, at that time we had, we started thinking about Sansar. There are some new projects being started, the only survivor of which is Blox World. And so the Second Life producer team kind of started almost from scratch at that time.
It's quite interesting that having come in to work on new projects, you've actually moved to work on Second Life. Are you working on Second Life exclusively, Troy, or do you still have a foot in Sansar?
No, I'm actually exclusively Second Life.
What I was curious to know is, when you guys, and this is always something that I'm fascinated by, juggling all these different products, Danger and Troy, when it was decided to diversify. Can you give us a little picture of how that was from your workday? Was that more stressful than working on Second Life full time, or was there maybe a benefit to having all these different products where you could shift a little bit from focusing on one thing to the other and then kind of recharge your batteries, I guess? How was it compared to now, where you're focused on one product exclusively?
I think everyone handles that differently, and it depends on your personality. I never worked on the new projects. That was my colleague, but I have been working on Sansar for since it began. And my personal preference is to focus more deeply on a single product. And when we say single product, of course, Second Life is huge. It's it's hard to call it a single product, but since I've been able to focus on Second Life, I've been able to dig deeper into into the data and trying to figure out how to move this needle here or that needle there, and it's so I prefer it that way. It's the right size of challenge because I like to have my hands in on the in the trenches, so to speak. So that's my personal preference.
And what is the breakdown right now in the lab? Do you know between people who do Sansa and people who do Second Life?
Well, I can't give you exact numbers, but we, one of the things that we did when we formed, for a while, people were working on Second Life and Sansar, and going back and forth and stuff like that. And we, when Oz Linden took over the engineering leadership of Second Life, he put together a team that really wanted to work on Second Life and weren't looking to work on Sansar, and so certainly it's a smaller team than the Sansar team, but it's very dedicated, very experienced. So So it's a great team to work with because the challenges then are having to do with the product and maintenance and stuff like that, rather than trying to figure out how to get a team to work together, because everyone works together very well.
How does the onboarding process work in terms of getting new recruits and hires to get acquainted with Second Life, even if they're familiar with Second Life? And Troy just say, he was familiar with it, and you have people that you recruited from within the community. They're of course very familiar with it. But is there a process, a standard process where people design their avatars and they're sort of required to go in world and to figure stuff out, report back, how they feel about it, so that they're. I guess my question is there do you make sure that there's a familiarity with the quote unquote product with new hires?
Yeah, we have a specific process that people go through. It's called internally it's called boot camp, and it takes a number.
I thought boot camp is like running up and down stairs and stuff and doing like weightlifting.
Well, they have to do that too, but in world they.
That's at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, actually, boot camp's at 5:15. Right, they actually go out into the real world, but we have a specific program with a specific person, and she'll take them. Char Linden will take them in groups, or individually, and run them through the how to be in world and the various responsibilities. And there's also a whole bunch of documentation, which is pretty good. I actually think that the Linden's onboarding system for employees is among the best I've seen, and I've been at big companies and small companies, and it's pretty good. It's pretty thorough.
Mm-hmm. Do the Sansar people get the same training in Second Life too, as sort of just to see how it is?
No, not really. I mean, if there all of our Sansar producers have Second Life experience, but the new engineers could be working on something so specific, and so narrow, having to do with getting the last couple of cycles out of a graphics card, for example, or getting the Oculus Rift to work. That that's less common.
It's fascinating to me, though, Danger, because I remember when you invited me up to present one of the Drax files. I don't recall exactly the conversation we had via email, but I did ask you, what do you want me to talk about? Thank you, I'm coming up, but what do you want me to talk about? And you said something along the lines of talk about what people do in Second Life. And I, of course, like, ooh, wow, Danger is inviting an outsider to tell his own people how Second Life works. Should I be honored or depressed?
I'm surprised you're not there still, Drax saying. And then people can also go flying in aeroplanes from airport.
I told him that. I mean, an hour in, they were like, what? You can fly?
No, Drax does have a lot to say, but I think that what we've been doing with kind of the company as a whole, so not just the people who are working in Second Life, but the people in finance or legal or whatever.
Yeah.
We get a lot of information, we got a lot of understanding or how people are using Second Life, but it's such a wide range of things can happen in there. We're always looking for ways for people to have a new appreciation of what things are being done in Second Life and how, and that's why your videos are great. The what Second Life means to me. Series of videos that we're doing for SL12B is great, and it's no matter how much you know or think you know about Second Life or a virtual world, seeing these really interesting use cases is really helpful for people, and really it's it also helps the people who are working on Sansar, which is it's the next generation. What does it mean to be in a virtual world? Right. And it's really important to kind of think about those use cases and to understand not just the job we got to do, but be inspired by the sorts of the thing we've built with Second Life, and we would like to build with even more mass market appeal with Sansar.
My videos are a kind of boot camp without running up and down stairs. Sorry, that was lame. But you're right. I mean, people who work with Blocks World, and I certainly, when I was up there, was fascinating to see that some people who are working, they're deeply inside the code and working on specific problems. Really, I mean, I was impressed how, the quote unquote worker bees really are so in there and going through this code and trying to fix things, and they don't have the opportunity to see what their improvements often do right away in terms of how they're being used by the residents. There was a question in the chat: how many women do work Linden Lab? I saw quite a few. How you have any numbers?
Or even percentages? What sort of percentage are?
I'm not sure how the numbers break down. We're pretty diverse, and we don't limit ourselves to just two genders here. We have plenty of transgender folks as well. So we're in San Francisco. We're working on Second Life. The combination of that means that we have people from all walks of life. And certainly more than two genders here. Now, we don't have all the 56 genders that Facebook identifies, but we've got more than a handful.
It's most certainly the most diverse workplace that I've ever seen, for sure. So, Safia, go ahead.
I was going to say, which project? I mean, you've worked on specific projects like experience tools, haven't you?
Well, I'm going to let Troy answer that, because Troy is specifically on experience tools.
Right.
So, can you repeat the question, Safia? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying you've worked on specific projects. I was going to ask which ones you've enjoyed working on most, but I'd love to talk a bit about experience tools and how that's coming along.
Sure. So, experience tools is a great project. It's something that it's been a long time coming. We're very close, actually, to shipping. And I just crashed.
Okay,
sorry.
Well, we can still hear you in Skype,
Okay.
So carry on talking as you come back.
Yeah, so like I said, it's very close to being completed, and we're getting a great response from the residents. We started a beta program almost a year ago to the month, and we had a lot of people very interested in it, and we've been talking to them as a closed beta group to give us feedback as we're working out all the kinks. So it was definitely an experience, a good experience, good learning experience. So very, very enjoyable. I'm very excited to see the fruits of our labor.
Sorry, can I?
Go ahead.
One thing about the experience tools that you certainly started working with the community quite early. And that was true, I think, of the materials project as well. You involved, I think that was Oz quite a bit, involved creators. Do you see that as being a fruitful way of working, that getting residents in early and involved?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where, from my background working on products that are sort of you package them up and let them go. When you work on live software, there's an incredible amount of information and learnings that you get from the people that use your products, right? And so any chance we get to meet and talk to the residents, especially about what's important to them. What is Second Life as a product lacking? How can we make it better? I think anytime we can do that is a huge plus.
Well, let's go on talking about enjoyable projects.
Well, I think that's a great question about what have been some of the favorites.
Hello?
And
We
yes,
have a Drax.
Drax, we can hear you.
We're just talking about enjoyable projects, Drax.
Yeah, I think that this may be a cop-out answer. When maybe I'm saying I love all my children the same. But what I really enjoy about working on Second Life is how the whole system works together, and trying to figure out how to make it work as not as a set of separate little products. And before I got here, and when I first got here, the projects were kind of organized that way. So there was a lot of siloing, and since then we've tried to treat it as a single product offering, where everything from the welcome experience to what you do in World to how you get through the website and how do you register and all of that. So that whole system, and looking at what affects what. We have a lot of data that we look at, and trying to understand what data is important, what data is not important, and trying to figure out what we do. How does it have an impact on the virtual world that we're working on? So for me, as a system, that's the most interesting part.
So for me, I think there's some projects that I've worked on that I'm really interested in, such as the SL Share project, and I realized to a lot of people, it's not for everyone. Social media can be a curse to some, but it really does speak to bringing Second Life and making it more modern. Bringing it into the present, because social media is everywhere. So I've actually gotten to hear a lot of great stories and some praises and some thanks from the residents who use SL Share to share, photos of what's going on, what they do in Second Life to their Facebook feed. So it's bringing sort of the two together. I've done the same. I've done a bunch of pictures and check-ins and stuff like that in Second Life, and just shared it with my friends on Facebook, and I've actually gotten quite a few people that have actually said, "Hey, I want to check out that, music event you're at. That looks pretty cool." So that was enjoyable to me.
This is Drax. I was off, but I'm back, and I don't know what you guys have discussed, but I guess the share feature. I just want to join in that I've bought the Facebook feature to share straight to Facebook is actually really cool. And I had the exact same experience that Troy just described, where people who have been, critics or very dismissive in my circle of friends about SL, they, they look at some stuff and go like, whoa, what is this? Where is this from? I say, but guys, this is what I've been talking about for the last 8 years. Oh, it's that. So it's a great way to, to just share it with people who are sort of uninitiated.
But several people in the audience, and I've found this experience too. The problem with it is that in order to share, you have to use your real life identity. Because if you're on Facebook as a Second Life avatar, you will get kicked off, and that can also kick off your main account as well, your real life account. So you have to be quite careful with Facebook. in a way that you
Facebook.
don't have to with Twitter or Google Plus.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a
true.
major issue, and I think personally, I'm personally on the record. I'm really not a friend of Facebook, and I'm actually quite concerned. And we talk about it with Joe all the time about their foray into virtual reality and virtual worlds. I hope to get a few questions in that regard in later, but you're absolutely right. That's totally an issue. I just mean for people who are comfortable, and it's totally okay to be not comfortable to linking these accounts, but for the people who are, and they can use Twitter too.
Yeah, I was going to say SL Share is not exclusively Facebook. So,
Yeah.
I've got a Twitter account. I've got a Flickr account. So, which, by the way, there are some amazing screenshots and photos that people upload to Flickr. And so, we just found a way to make it a little bit easier, more accessible to most people.
That's great. That's
Make it
great,
accessible to the journalists who use the 2007 snapshots.
You have, yes, point them at those nice Flickr pictures. Yes, there's
I think I want to add with Facebook. Yes, Facebook. Facebook has a policy where they want real life identities. So what that means is that if you want to post stuff on Facebook, it needs to be. It needs to be with a persona that you don't mind having associated with your real life name. So I know a lot of people use different alts for different purposes, and so the one you use for Facebook needs to be associated with your real life identity. The other social networks don't have that requirement, so that can limit its usefulness.
I find that people want to follow me as Safia Widdershins. I have, friends and family who follow me under my real name, and some of my Second Life friends follow me on Facebook as well, using my real name. But most people who meet me in Second Life therefore want to look for Safia Widdershins. What I actually did in the end was set up a Facebook page, partly because I was being harassed by a fairly irritating troll. And I thought, well, they could blow my identity very easily and then I'd be off Facebook altogether. So
Are there trolls that are not irritating?
Friendly, cuddly little ones, yes. No, there aren't actually.
Yeah, I was going to say that was another alternative that we found during, when we started to learn about people, getting their accounts shut down, their SL avatar account shut down. And then they recommended creating a page, and it's the same thing. You tell your friends, check out my page, and then from there they can check out the feeds that get posted. So, but again, that's all learned from the residents. So going back to your other question about learning more about residents and what they need and how they use the feature. As a perfect example, we initially intended it to share. We found a roadblock, and they found alternate ways to use it, and it works just fine. So.
Color Knight Blue Star in the chat is reading my thoughts. She wants to go back to discussing experience tools. Facebook's old news. I do have a question. This has been on my mind for a long time, because you guys at Linden Lab, you're really churning out these features that are awesome, and I just wanted to know, and maybe you discussed it while it was crashed, but I want to know if you guys are sometimes a bit frustrated that the people who have the time and who are skillful enough to implement them right away are sort of far and few between. I mean, I'm thinking of my good friend Loki Elliott, who is just awesome, and the minute you guys come out with a feature, he somehow finds the inspiration to implement it into a new experience. Matt P, the same thing. There's a handful of others. So
I lost you there, Drax.
Yes.
I'm going to anticipate his question, which has to do with are we frustrated that perhaps are there great creators who can take advantage of some of these awesome tools, maybe few and far between, and the answer is that there are in a typical in a typical user-generated community, you're going to have a smaller percentage of smaller percentage of really good creators are going to create the content that are consumed by the majority of the users, and that goes across all sorts of different user generated content, and so our ratio in Second Life works just fine. But the other thing to keep in mind is that for a lot of creators, it is the act of creation itself, not whether or not it gets sold or gets publicized. Maybe it's just for their friends and family, or maybe it's just for them, and that is part of the joy of working in something where you create something. And we really have to recognize that we're not just catering to professional creators. We're creating for people who want to create something, and that is their fun from beginning to end.
So sometimes the things that you think are going to be so cool are just going to fall flat.
Well, we try to seed, we try to, with any of the features we do, we try to seed it with some interesting examples and maybe good examples of best practices. But it's, we are, but we're, we like to say we are not in the content creation business. Yeah. Certainly, but we're not at zero, because we have to eat our own dog food, as they say, and we have to provide some seeded examples so that people can kind of build from those. But it doesn't take that many creators to take advantage of some stuff to make some really cool things out there. And I think Experience Tools is a great example. You don't need thousands and thousands of great experiences. You just need a handful that people will love.
And people like Mad P, of course, are all over it, because it's going to be great for gaming and hunting, that kind of hunt as well.
Yeah, I mean, anything that makes Second Life more immersive, I think is a huge win. And as we're finding with the folks who are currently using the keys for the beta programming, we've seen a lot of variety. Anything from scavenger hunts to full-on combat sims, and it's cool. We're looking really forward to seeing what else people can come up with.
I'm picking up on a question that came up earlier, which was when we were talking about social media. Someone's asking what you think about My Second Life, and is it going to be maintained? So Liam asked this.
Let's see. That's a tough one, because I don't think anybody's going to like the answer, and the short answer is no. It's kind of a mess, and it's very difficult to maintain. Its usage rate is on the low side compared to other features. So may not be a popular answer, but no improvements are planned on that.
Can I throw out a completely different question about the virtual reality race? The race to metaverse supremacy. Are you guys concerned that there are other companies out there that are going to maybe be very, very competitive and dangerous, no pun intended, to Project Sansar? And why do you guys think that you will win this race, the VHS versus beta race?
Well, I think,
or is it that, or can we?
No, I don't think so. I mean, with Sansar, we need to support. We need to support the widest range of platforms that we can, and although we do have an Oculus Rift viewer for Second Life, Second Life is 12-year-old legacy code. And we need to support all the stuff that's been built and it's continuing going on. So it's never going to, although you could use Oculus Rift with Second Life, it's never going to have the frame rate to be competitive with Sansar or the other. Oh
no! I understand that, but my question was more specifically for Project Sansar going forward, competing with whatever Facebook might be building or is building, high fidelity, maybe somebody else. To me, it's pretty clear that you guys have an area of expertise in in running an economy, a virtual goods economy that is sizable. All these other things that have yet to be proven by some of these other competitors. So, are you confident that you have the right magic mix in Project Sansar to compete the others? And what does that magic mix consist of?
Yeah, we do think we have a big advantage in building virtual worlds. We've built the longest lasting, most successful one. I think Linden Lab is positioned very well on Project Sansar and to compete. I guess the short answer would be this virtual world thing with user generated content. It's a lot harder than it looks, and it's there's the understanding what the challenges are when non-professional creators are creating stuff that need to perform in a world. So that's a big emphasis on Sansar. And the other thing not to be ignored is the years of experience on what it means to manage a virtual currency that can be converted into real life dollars. Right. We have done a ton of work on compliance and fraud protection and all of that stuff. It's a really high bar to be able to be trusted to handle money like this, and it's something that starting from scratch is just a huge hill to climb. So, right. If you're going to be able to exchange for real money in your virtual world, that's also a big challenge.
And I have to say, for the record, it feels really warm and fuzzy to me that Linden Lab is really focusing on creating a user-centric virtual world, because I don't see, and I don't know, but I'm guessing that Facebook is not going to, because for the reason maybe that is just very hard to administer, and maybe the return can be higher if Facebook creates a virtual world that is just about, I don't know, sharing pictures and buying stuff. So I see a bright future there.
Yeah, I think all of this activity in virtual worlds is exciting to me as a consumer. Or I'm talking about the head-mounted displays now and all of those competing products. Every time we hear about someone making a big deal about it, another product that's going to be developed, it just it says to us that we are in the right space. We're in a hot space, and we'd rather compete in a space that people really care about than do a great job in something that that has no audience.
Well, and Linden Lab has empowered the individual person. Like I said in my what SL means to me, the person who has never been told, you can do this. Incidentally, last week, Parma Lucky of Oculus gave an interview to Recode, and he said, well, at this point, I don't know if he said at this point, but he said only game design studios have the skill to create compelling content. And that really was, I wanted to call him. I don't have his phone number. But I wanted to call and say, that sounds awfully arrogant, right?
Totally arrogant. Yeah. I know people who are in here designing who actually kind of do it as their hobby when they work for movie studios in the real world, doing 3D content for movies and advertisements. And then they come in here and have fun doing 3D content. And, are you really going to say that they're not as good as a game studio? No. Question that came up earlier, the one I was trying to find, I finally found it. Experience tools. Is that going to be a region thing, or would people be able to put experience tools on just their parcel?
So experience tools, there are two parts to it. The first phase we're going to be releasing are going to be the region local keys. We did talk about grid-wide or grid scope keys that's going to allow it to work anywhere. But there is a way for you to, if you wanted to collaborate with other region owners, you could just simply allow that particular land scope key experience to run on your region. So it's just a matter of, reaching out to your neighbor and saying, hey, I've got this cool experience, and I think you'll like it. I think it'll work well in your region. And shake hands and turn on the switch. So yeah, it's out of the box. It's designed for your region, but there is a way for you to collaborate with your fellow region owners.
What happens if you live on mainland?
There are going to be, I don't want to give away too much, but there are plans to allow experiences to run there as well.
Aha! Right, okay. That's a partial answer, you see, to your question.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I was going to say, are there any more questions for Danger and Troy from the audience? Okay, someone is asking, can you tell us anything about II preload sound? Caitlin Thomas wants to know about the feet. I'm not sure what she wants to know about the feet. Joe Yardley wants to know why flip-flops.
Oh, you mean why are we wearing them? Oh, actually, okay. Because this outfit I originally had with shorts, but I didn't like the shorts, so I got longer pants, but I didn't change the shoes. So it's I live in California, and I love the weather out here, and so I like to celebrate by wearing shorts, flip-flops, and Hawaiian shirt.
Right. Okay, I'm going to try Drax again. And then I'm going to say, will it be mesh bodies in the new game in Sansar?
Yes, there will be it will be mesh, and more mesh.
Can I say one word? Voxels.
Yes, I don't know if we've actually announced that, but the terrain system will be voxel based, and I believe you can make objects out of voxels. And I hope that I haven't overstepped information on Sansar, but that's what I heard.
Okay, that's very exciting news, I think, for a lot of people.
The other thing I can answer when asking about tier, one of the things that we're trying to accomplish with Sansar is lower the barrier to entry as far as being able to get in world, have land that you can work with and things like that. So there will be a system which should allow non-registered guests to do limited things. It should allow you to be able to create some things in world without having to quote unquote own land. You get a certain amount for free. So a lot of that's the idea, is to lower that barrier to entry so that people don't have to have this big jump to get into. To be able to rest up something in world.
A bit like the way Cloud Party used to do it, that you took the basic tutorials and then you got land.
Yes. Yeah, like that. The other question I saw, where do I see SL in 5 or 10 years? I anticipate a long life for Second Life. Certainly there's a lot of speculation that, won't as soon as we open Sansar's doors, won't everyone move from Second Life to Sansar, and Second Life will be a ghost town? And the answer is no, because in order for Sansar to be as interesting as Second Life, you need a critical mass of people and social groups and stuff that you can get and experiences that you can do. And there are a lot of people who are very comfortable in Second Life. They're there for a variety of reasons, and they will continue to be there regardless of how good Sansar is. So I see a long life for Second Life just because of its inertia and the investment in time and social network that they've built in Second Life. And a lot of people will use both as well.
A question that came up. Questions have been flying past fast and furious, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to tackle them all. Couple of things. One about a couple of things, and they're both about Sansar. How will animations work there? That's going to be quite important, not just, for lots of creators. create, not just animations as in animation overrides, but furniture makers, home builders, all this sort of thing, dance, all these things. Are animations going to work in a similar way?
The animation system in Sansar will be a full professional, and by say I mean professional in performance. Doesn't mean you have to be a professional to create them, but it'll be a full animation system that will work with objects and avatars. It'll be based on Havok animation, the underlying Havok animation system with additional Linden stuff on top of it. So it's going to be that part's going to be very nice.
And the other question was, will people be able to own land in Second Life, like in Sansar, like we have people who own estates and create estates and then rent out to people? Will that also be possible in Sansar?
It will, yes, that will also be possible. Although with the lower barrier to entry, it will look a lot different. The dynamics will be a lot different. But yes, you can be someone who's created this big region. Maybe it's a shopping mall, and you want to rent out the shops to various folks. Your value add is the traffic and the infrastructure, and people can use the shops to sell their stuff. So yes,
right. I'm getting a repeated question being asked: beta keys for SL current users.
Well, we're it's a gradual release plan. The first people will be let in will be a handful of creators who have specific skills, and those skills have to do with a Maya-like project that is not going to be the requirement for Sansar as a whole. It's just that pipeline, being able to get high quality stuff from Maya into World, is the first thing that we need to get right. So those will be the first people that'll be left in, and that'll be invitation only.
I think I understand. I mean, you guys got to really make sure that this pipeline is very, very solid to get it from Maya in World, right? And then that's the main reason why you stick with Maya until that is satisfactory, come to a conclusion. That pipeline.
Correct.
Well, I offer myself as someone who can drive very badly and is guaranteed to crash every possible vehicle into buildings. So, I think I could be a very useful tester.
Will there be functionality like building with Prims is today, where you can put stuff together in World collaboratively? What can you tell us about those plans?
Yeah, that is. It is the goal to be able to build in World, and to be able to do collaborative building. Yes, that's all. That's all part of the plan.
I've seen some wonderful stuff, videos of how you can create landscapes. I don't think in Sansar, but how some of the tools that can be used for creating landscapes are just amazing. And I hope they'll be incorporated into Sansar too.
Yep, we do have the terrain building stuff will be a lot of fun.
That would be good. We've said that there is going to be private land north. Will there be and presumably there'll be mainland too if you're giving everyone 2 acres and a cow.
2 acres and a cow.
Or was it 2 acres and a mule?
Yeah, that's
2 acres and a mule. I think it was 2 acres and a cow, possibly in Britain, but it was 2 acres and a mule in America.
I think it's 1 acre and 2 cows because you want to be able to reproduce and breed them.
That depends on your political system.
40 acres and a mule refers to reparations. I can do a lecture on that as I'm quite fluent with American history as a immigrant, but people will get bored quickly.
So you presumably the land that people will get, there will be mainland in Sansar.
Not sure what that's going to, mainland means a particular thing in Second Life, and it's administered in a particular way. Don't have the answer for that on Sansar.
Okay. That's fine. Right. Well, Kenny Lex sent me a question in IM, and I think we've answered that. interesting one here from Wacky DJ. Has there been any discussion for hypergridding, the ability to teleport from Second Life to Sansar without the need for relogging, as this is now being used in OpenSim?
I haven't heard any plans like that. It will be true that the authorization systems will be. You'll be able to link your accounts together if you'd like, but that doesn't mean you'd necessarily, go from one client to the other without having to relog.
Right. Oh, so there are going to be second names for Sansar Lives, are there? We're going to be able to have two names again in Sansar.
That is. Let's see. I'm going to delay answering that one. You will have because you will have your main login authentication will be your email address, and then and then that's only for you to know, and us of course. And then you will be able to have persona names for different accounts, or for different Sansar accounts underneath that. The format of those persona names has not been settled on.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to ask Ebby about that tomorrow. Plead with Ebby tomorrow about that. So you are going to be able to have multiple accounts.
Yeah, multiple accounts under one main account, and that will it'll be there'll be a lot of features where it will be beneficial for you to do that, because you'll be able to manage things easier, be able to manage your wallets and your inventory and things like that.
That'd be great. Yes. Another couple of questions. Will Sansar Mesh be completely static like SL, or will we have scripting, coding hooks to modify stuff, like with prim parameters?
All of the objects in Sansar will be scriptable. With behaviors and with driving animation and stuff like that. As far as modifying the mesh on the fly, I'm not sure.
I have a question that I always ask, but I'll ask it again. What makes me, and I talked to Philip Rosedale last week. We'll have an upcoming show, and he's very confident that High Fidelity will be successful, that the concept of open virtual worlds where you can create is going to be very successful, and I like to believe the same thing. But at the same time, what we have learned from the past is that maybe not everybody is comfortable with, or maybe overwhelmed.
I think he's gone again.
Maybe Drax was going to ask, will newbies get, or non-professionals get overwhelmed with the various creation tools? Well, that is, that's a huge challenge for any world where you want to have user-generated creations. And so we are, that is the, that mid-range and the, lower the barrier to entry for creating stuff, that is among the most challenging things to get right. All I can say is it is a big goal of the project, to be able to make it easier to make things in Sansar than it is in Second Life.
Someone's asked, Pixel Sideways has got a very interesting question. If you have separate avatars accounts in Sansar, but they're all under one login, will you be able to share inventories under one main login account?
That is the idea. Yes.
That's wonderful.
You should be able to move things back and forth, and your currency within the same account easily.
That will make life a lot easier, I think, for a lot of people. And certainly running a business, one of the problems is you have to keep logging in as different people to transfer different things between you. So this would be absolutely great. So I'm very conscious that we've overrun our time by quite a bit. I don't know if you guys need to rush off fairly soon, or if you can talk a bit longer.
I have a hard stop.
I am just checking my calendar now, but I think I have a 2:30 as well.
Okay. Well, I think if anyone has any last questions, yes. Frauke is saying, will you be able to redeliver if you're a merchant in Second Life? in Sansar. And Joe Yardley is asking if we have text chat in Sansar.
Yes, we will have text chat in Sansar, and we will have, and also voice chat. And who's the coolest Lyndon of us two? It's pretty close.
Is Sansar going to run on Linux?
It's not looking positive, as you may realize. The Linux, the official Linden Lab Linux version for our viewer for Second Life is now currently officially community supported. There's just not enough. There are just not enough users using it for us to be able to maintain it. So it really depends on the user base. And if Second Life is any prediction, then the answer on for Sansar will probably be no.
Well, will there be third-party viewers? Will there be the possibility of creating third-party viewers who could do that kind of support?
We will not have open source on Sansar. But there will be the ability to create third-party add-ins or libraries that can modify the viewer.
Mm-hmm. Is Sansar going to be as anonymous as Second Life?
What you'll be able to do, you will be able to have as much anonymity as you want in Sansar. The difference is that the more information that you provide to us, whether it be your real name or a verified email or payment information on file, the more ability you will have in the more capabilities you have in world. So this is one way where we try to combat griefers, where if we want to lower the barrier to entry and let people create stuff and have fun in world, how do you do that without opening a vector for every griefer in the world to get in without having to register or anything and bother people? So what will happen is, as you provide more information and you look less and less like a griefer, you will be able to do more in world and participate more.
That's brilliant. I have got a question about people. About Second Life, and someone talking about having a problem with textures causing snapback problems. I can send you the details later. I don't know if any of the builders here in the audience have been having problems with textures recently. We'll see. I'll drop you details, both of you, in Skype so you can see.
I'm sure a lot of you already do this. Anytime you encounter any issues with Second Life, I mean, the first order of business is to file a JIRA. We do have triages weekly, in some cases, more than once a week. So we do get to them. We do our best to try to prioritize them. So if it is really an issue, we'd love to hear about it. But a JIRA is probably the first step to go with.
Place to go. Okay. Well, I'd like to say thank you so much to Troy and Danger coming here today. Last few questions. Frank is throwing them out at the moment. Will it be possible to sell if you have real life info on file?
The relationship between the capabilities and how much information you have to provide, that's still being worked out. I mean, there'll be a big matrix, and we're playing with that. But that's the concept.
Right, but that would be under the hood, wouldn't it? I mean, that you wouldn't actually know. You wouldn't actually. The fact that you've supplied the information to the lab would be kind of confidential.
Yeah, well, the actual information that you provide. But for example, if everyone knows that you need to have a verified email in order to actually, for example, in order to publish a world, and then you published a world, then you would know about the creator. Oh, that person did provide a verified email. No one knows what that email is, but that's the idea. Is we're trying to establish these levels of trust so we can get more people in, but still have some protection from ne'er-do-wells.
Right. So when will the first offer invites be sent out? Several people have asked this timeline. Have we got a kind of foreseeable timeline yet?
Well,
loads of people asking this.
Yeah, first person in will be the by invitation only. pre-alpha creators, and they're being talked to now. But we're talking about a handful of people.
Joe has brought her suitcase. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to indicate the universal symbol for I gotta go by standing up.
Okay.
Thank you guys for being
For joining us.
serious. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Okay, I'll stand up too. I'm feeling a bit weird
my
sitting
pleasure.
down. Thank you to our audience for your participation and enjoying it, I hope. Thank you to our camera woman, Pet Love Pet Shop, who's been gallantly filming away while people have been crashing all around her. And also thank you to our stage manager, UC Galway, who's been keeping everything together for us.
All right, so there you have it. That was our conversation at SL12B with Danger and Troy, part of the Meet the Linden series. Make sure, if you listen to this podcast early in the morning, catch our own Joe Yardley interview, Ebbe Linden, at 1 p.m. in World. Reserve your seats right now. Go and squat. Other than that, of course, go in the world. Please enjoy the amazing breadth of content exhibited this year, testament to the ingenuity of our fellow residents. Testament to the importance and value of sustainability of technology like Second Life. If you look at it SL in a mere platform sense, which of course in my humble opinion you shouldn't, it's about people after all. It's about community. It's about empowerment. Don't forget about the Music Fest at SL12B. It's so much stuff. I hope they archive that in video or audio form, whatever they do. We link to the official SL12B blog that has all the information and slurls. You know, frankly, the goggle-wearing VR kids, they enthuse about high visual fidelity, zero lag, head tracking, blah, blah, blah. I know I'm slightly off topic, but it's related because it's birthday time. These VR kids have yet to offer, I call them VR kids because I'm old. They have yet to offer a concept to engage and empower millions of ordinary folks to make things that are just simply fabulous. The power of creativity. All right. That's it. It's the end of the show. I like to hand it over to a series of videos now. They have emerged during SL12B, a campaign initiated by social media manager at Linden Lab, Ziola Linden. The series is entitled, What Does Second Life Mean to You? You can submit your own video, a blog post, a pictorial series. You can tell your own story about how Second Life matters. I was involved in the kickoff with Strawberry Singh, Kaya Angel, Gentle Heron from Virtual Ability. We were submitting films to get the ball rolling, but it's grown, frankly, beyond my own expectations. There is so many videos are coming out. Some really heart-wrenching stories. Again, I'm overusing the word testaments to the passion and beauty of what the world does to us in the most positive sense. I'm embedding into our blog a playlist of these videos out there so far. Watch them all, get inspired, and then do your own. Do your own. There's people in there that have submitted. They have never done any machinima before, and now they're doing it. That's how we all get started, by just doing it. Do it. You have a story to tell. If Second Life has changed your life like it has mine, you got to submit that story. You have to tell that story. Nobody will tell it for you. Ask people for help if you've never done machinima, or jump in cold. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose other than the opportunity to tell the world how Second Life makes you proud to be part of this community. All right, end of show. Thanks for listening and supporting. Next week we have a super special show. So much for my summer vacation. It's just not happening. We have a super special show with some super high profile guests. I cannot say anymore. Watch the profile feed, Twitter and Facebook. I'm going to tease it a little bit. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we're going to end the show today with some audio from the What Second Life Means to Me video series. This is Snowhawk Przewalski, answering the question what Second Life means to her. Enjoy and bye.
Hi there. In the world, I am known as Snowhawk Przewalski. And today I am going to tell you a few things as to what makes Second Life special for me. I have always been the creative type, from the earliest memories of sitting in daycare drawing horses and unicorns to the many times I have tried to be creative in 3D media and just wind up injuring myself. In my first life, I deal with many problems that cause me chronic pain. Over the past years, this has progressively gotten worse, to the point where going out on a good day exhausts me for several following days. I also have some really awful at most times social anxiety. I was overjoyed when I finally had a computer that could run Second Life. I logged in with my first account, Samia Rossini, on April 28, 2007. I quickly discovered that there was no real limit as to what I could do. Most of my social anxiety from real life fades away while in Second Life. I am not limited to going out by how long I can walk or stand, or having to worry that the pain from my excursion is going to follow me to the next day or the next several days and make it hard to go to my real life job. Plus, I get to talk to folks I wouldn't otherwise ever see. I have made many friends in Second Life. I have lost some over the years, but I have made many more, and I treasure them all. I have also been exercising my creative muscles in World. I have retextured many furry avatars, as you can see from the one I am currently wearing. I have tried making clothing. It usually turns out awful, but I am trying. And I have built accessories and created shapes for my avatars. I am currently teaching myself Blender so I can make more things. Second Life is an outlet for expression that I wouldn't otherwise have. From being creative to my fashion sense to being social, which is an amazing thing for me. It has been an amazing time these past few years, and I look forward to the future.
The Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley is a weekly production of Basic Drax Entertainment. The show is supported by Leap Motion, Stitcher, Fateware by Damien Fate, Giza Creations, Arrows Avatars, Maven Homes, Mad Bee Productions, Bot Girls Identity Circus, Ison, Caravel Design, Vika Creations, Humanoid Animations, Loki Elliott, Botanical, Death Row Designs, Fallen Gods Incorporated, What's Next, Abranimations, Blue Moon Enterprises, Avacon, and Landscapes Unlimited. Contact the show via Skype, DraxFiles, Avatar, DraxFiles, or email radio@draxfiles.com.